friend. Come.
Hello, friends.
Come.
Welcome to Happy Hour episode 9.
Episode
Cheers.
9. Sponsored by my love of Glenfiddich.
And mine too. I am here with Dave Nadelberg tonight, writer and creator of Mortified, which is now kind of a franchise, I guess.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
Like McDonald's.
Yeah, like McDonald's, totally.
or like a Michael Bay film.
Mm-hmm.
Just like those.
360, lots of flares.
Yeah. When I think of franchise, I think, yeah.
No matter who we were as kids, whether we were the bully or the captain of the football team or the nerd, we all went through the same pains and struggles.
If you've got something that you feel like you would kill yourself if people found out, there's no way you can hold on to that.
People were a little bit shocked, like, you're gonna read your diary out loud? Why would you want to do that? But the people that don't want to do it love hearing other people do it.
Tell me how you got started writing.
Well, I was a kid. No, I've been writing my whole life. I mean, with Mortified, I'm not a writer, but I'm as a producer, I'm a storyteller.
Yeah.
And then in the other stuff that I do, I've been writing since I was a kid, and always loved writing short stories as well as personal essays. And some of my earliest, actually, the number one thing I really like writing, I like writing copy. Like I like writing like blurby. I like taglines and slogans and titles. And
Who are some of your inspirations as writers, or what kind of writing do you like?
Well,
Other people's writing, I mean.
I like short stories a lot, and I like reading Mark Twain short stories.
Oh, fine.
Yeah, I think, but typically when I read books, I'll read, I like reading like biographies. And I don't know, I'm often interested in people's lives.
Yeah.
And so I sometimes I'll have a hard time getting through fiction.
Yeah.
Though there's some great fiction out there. But yeah, so like Mark Twain, and often when I think about like who inspires me, who like influenced me as a writer, I think of two cartoonists usually. I think of Bill Waterston, who I think created Calvin Hobbes, and that comic strip was actually very huge in my life. Like I read the comic strips every day, which they don't really exist anymore in newspapers. But I read the comic strips every day. I read the newspaper all the time as a kid. I read the back to front, and I read every strip, not just like the funnies. I would read like Mary Worth and like all like the shitty soap opera. Like I read everything.
Yeah, like the advice columns.
Yeah, I was very obsessive with just the comics. So Tank McNamara, the one that was about sports. Like anyway, so and then one day Calvin Hobbes came out, and I started laughing out loud, and I went, oh, these aren't just supposed to, like Garfield I always loved, but it was like humorous. Yeah. But Calvin Hobbes, it was like hilarious. Yeah. And I was like, oh, and it started teaching me about like writing and like, I don't know, it was one of the first times that I sort of realized that. And then Linda Barry, who's another comic strip artist, who had like a sort of an underground comic a lot in the 80s and 90s called Ernie Pook's Comique. She really captured a lot of like teen angst. Yeah. And she really, what I liked about her was that she was funny, but she also like was really poignant and sweet, and a lot of the tone of Mortified, in my opinion, comes from my appreciation totally of Linda Barry, and me wanting to sort of kind of recreate that, you know.
I do Mortified because I think my childhood is relatable. I'm laughing at myself, I'm laughing with myself, so it's fine.
Fuck me! Screw my parents! I'm never gonna be anything! I suck! I lied to my mom on where me and Del were last night. Anyway, she's like telling me how I've always lied to her and how she rarely believes anything I say to her. If she thinks I'm a bullshitter, why not try to be then? Screw her. I'll be what I fucking want to be.
Speaking of Mortified, Dave, tell us about Mortified. How did that get started?
Oh, well, Kate and Kim, I started Mortified when I was a struggling writer, and in Los Angeles, and I'd actually been like having some success with stuff, selling like TV ideas and whatever.
Yeah.
But and I had found this love letter that I'd written as a teenager, and the love letter was written to a girl.
Hello, Leslie. How was your day today? Mine's quite well, I must admit. I do hope that yours is a good one, because what you're about to read may or may not add extra color to the rainbow.
Anyway, there was this whole Hollywood roller coaster of career stuff. And, you know, sometimes things goes up, and sometimes your career kind of goes down. And it was in this down moment, and I thought, I remembered this love letter that I had found when I was in high school. I mean, this love letter that I had written in high school that I had found recently in my 20s at the time.
Yeah.
And I immediately started sharing it with friends, and I was really fascinated by like who the kid who wrote that love letter was, partially because I thought he was an idiot.
First off, let me introduce myself. My name is Dave. For quite some time, I've been trying to figure out a way to meet you. The older we all get, and the more the time that we include into history passes on, it has seemingly become harder and harder to get to know one another. You all right? It doesn't make me feel good either.
And partially because I knew that I was still him.
Yeah.
Like, not just genetically, but like, oh, there's a lot of...
You still have some of those tendencies.
Yeah, a lot of his idiotic personality traits, but not too dissimilar to me today then. So,
yeah.
So I had this idea to kind of launch this project that originally was going to be all about love letters unsent, and then over time that morphed and became diaries and love letters and poetry, and and so Mortified was born, and then that was supposed to just be a one-night event, and I thought, and it took over my life.
Yeah.
Well, the letter did not end up getting me the girl. It got me something a whole lot better, which is all of you.
But the point is that, you know, Mortified really began out of the ashes of failure, I was doing this Hollywood stuff, and then that didn't work out for a minute, and sort of from that, I was like, well, what if I do this stage show? And I realized it was just so much more rewarding in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It wasn't as, you know, yeah, it was just, I don't know, there was just something more creatively rewarding about it, and I realized that the stuff that I wanted to do as a storyteller, as a writer, was to take an audience on a journey and really go through, simulate some sort of story that takes you on, that gives you all these emotions. That's the goal of any kind of artist, is to like, I'm gonna make that person happy, I'm gonna make that person sad, I'm gonna make that person angry or think or whatever.
Yeah. And
I found that I was able to kind of do that through this weird version of storytelling that we that I started to develop with Mortified.
Dear Diary, during newspaper, I wrote a note to Matt about how people treat me like shit, and he said he didn't buy it. He wrote back, I may be out of line, but I was you for 9 years. Without the soap operas, but with other socially unacceptable qualities. I was stunned. He continued, tape a piece of paper to your mirror that says, you have taken yourself too seriously. Cut down on TV. Experiment with hairstyles. Dance around your house with headphones on. Laugh a lot.
By the way, these Mortified events happen like nationwide, so if you go to mortified.com, you can...
Well, you go to getmortified.com.
Getmortified.com.
But you can just watch if you have Netflix or iTunes, you can watch Mortified Nation, which is our film. And we also have a podcast that is you can also find on iTunes.
Yeah. Or Mortified Sessions, right? The TV show, is that still on Netflix?
We did a TV show for Sundance Channel, now called Sundance TV, which is called The Mortified Sessions. It was like a talk show, right? Interviewed celebrities about their mortifying childhood memories. But season 1 of that is on Netflix, I believe, and season 1 and 2 are on iTunes.
But yeah, what I was gonna say about the live shows is that they're really fun. So you should definitely...
Thank you, Caitlin.
You're welcome. It's like one of my favorite things in LA. It makes me so happy.
Dear Diary.
Is it true that girls don't have orgasms the first time?
I just put down my Anne Frank diary. I can really relate to her struggle.
So Mortified now has a podcast that's coming out. By the time this interview airs, the podcast will be out. Tell me about
Full swing.
the podcast. What's going on with that?
We're doing this podcast with Radiotopia.fm. They're this really cool collective of public radio producers. Someone like yourself will read your diaries and then...
But above everything, I love your laugh. Your laugh fills me with joy and happiness, and it is high and pure, and it makes anything seem possible. When I'm in the library during second period, and you and Troll come in to get out of Spanish, and you sit with us, and I read these poems in the Adam Sandler voice, and you laugh, I can't stand it. I want everyone to laugh, sure, but I'm really doing it for you. God, you are so beautiful. You are the most beautiful woman in the world. Every time I see you, I get dizzy, my palms start to sweat, and I can barely contain myself. I want to kiss you, but I don't have to. I'd be happy just cuddling up to you and burying my head in your long curly hair and telling you how great it feels to be with you. Total virgin. What the idiot.
And after there's like an interview where we find out like, you know, what became of you, and we sort of do sort of we ask find out like what's more to the story that we heard.
Yeah.
Sometimes a rejection on Valentine's Day isn't as bad as being alone and not taking a risk.
That's awesome. And how many episodes will there be?
We are doing 52 episodes, so for
a whole year.
Yeah. So basically, the next year of my life is doing this. And it's weird. We made a movie a couple years ago called Mortified Nation, a documentary, and this is as ambitious.
Yeah, as much work.
Yeah, I think you'd be surprised. Like I think, well, you can put out a podcast, but like we really want to put a lot of time and care into like how it sounds and like what it is and like what's the structure of it.
Yeah.
February 14th, 1998.
6th grade.
Dear Diary.
Dear Jesus. Dear sweet asswad.
Adults sharing the embarrassing things
they created as kids.
So what are your hopes for 2015?
For me?
For you, for Mortified, wherever you want to take it.
My big hope for me in 2015 is there's a project I've been working on for many years, which is a book that has nothing to do with Mortified, and my big hope is to go out with that as a book and you know find a home for that at a publisher.
Yeah.
Something I'm really proud of.
Cool.
But my other big hope is like professionally, like I like, you know, is for this podcast to come out and to hear from people who I didn't expect to hear from.
Like, and write my diary. So until next week, guys. See you later. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.